असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness of ignorance to light of knowledge, and from this limited perishable existence to the eternal life. Oh, peace, peace, peace. My dear spiritual aspirants, one with me as self, it's a joy to discuss this great book by one of the greatest teachers of mankind, Shankara. The life of Shankaracharya, like any incarnation of God, is just dedicated for uplifting humanity to bring the eternal truth and thereby bring the fulfillment into one's life. That is the sole purpose for which the incarnation of God, it is there. God becomes human so that the human beings can learn. It is for that purpose, without any aberration to the divinity, the God appears like a human being. There is no deviation from divinity. Let us remember it, that while remaining God as far as the awareness is concerned, that is in human shape. It is like in a wax museum you have the statues of wax. So somebody may look like Mahatma Gandhi. And Mahatma Gandhi is in appearance, yes, but the wax did not undergo any change. It still remains wax. If you heat it, it is going to melt. So it is, but in appearance, yes, Mahatma Gandhi. So similarly in appearance man, but actually the divine. And that divine comes as human being to tell us that how we can get what we really want in life. It is, we want something in life, that is why we have so many different desires. That I want this, and but we are not sure exactly what we want, because in the morning we want something, in the afternoon the things change. No, I want something else. It happens with children at a very obvious level. They go to a toy shop and you can see, that takes one toy, I want. If the child is told, well, choose any, but you can have only one, and then see the confusion the child gets into. Picks one, that is better. And so it is, even after being grown up, we do not really change much, except we can curb our emotional outburst a little more. That too, if we are cautious about it. So it is, otherwise, yeah, the desires change, one in the morning, another in the afternoon. Not only they change, they are conflicting and contradictory. So what do we want? We do not really know. In the morning we think that, okay, I want a nice, quiet, peaceful life. But then that morning passes, and then you go on Facebook, want to connect with thousands of people all over the world. So, and thus you want to also go and meet people physically, want to go to mall to buy many things. So, the desire for having a quiet, peaceful life in the morning is gone by the afternoon. In the evening again things become different. So, therefore, what do we really want? So, one purpose of this incarnation of God is to make us identify what we want. From all these differently scattered wants in life, what do we really want? And then the second part comes, how to get it. Want is okay, but I should have the way to get it, otherwise only knowing I want, well, it is I want moon, how can I get it? It's a difficult thing. But to show the way, what you want and how to get it. That is the sole purpose of every incarnation of God. As you read Jesus saying, I am the goal, I am the way. Great statement. With same thing with Lord Krishna, same thing with Sri Ramakrishna, that yes, people don't have to do much, they have to just know about this. He would point out to his own body, they have to know about this and their connection with this, and that's it. So, they make it very simple. Shankaracharya, many of us have a misunderstanding that it is very tough, very difficult. Actually, there are few writers who have made the spiritual science simpler than Shankaracharya has done. Very straightforward, simple and direct teaching. Not making roundabout way. It is straightforward, direct, clear teaching. So that is how you have this various works of Shankaracharya known for the tremendous clarity, and that is what we need, clarity, to know what the truth is and then to find out the way by which we can realize it. And his whole life, you see, Shankaracharya's life is filled with this. He knew by just observation, who am I? We also can know only our observation needs to be cleared of all the junk, the dust, the imperfections of observation, and then we will see the same truth. So, to that end, Shankaracharya, among so many books that he has written, many of them are great commentaries on Upanishads. Because Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita and Brahma Sutra, these are called Prasthanatraya. It's a beautiful word, Prasthanatraya. Means three things that you require as support on your journey. Prasthana is that, that you go from one place to other. The life is to be treated as a journey. Very important thing, life is not just roaming about, but a destination is there. That is the difference between just going for a walk and traveling. Traveling means there is a destination. I want to go to some place. Not that this morning I came to the airport and catch any plane, go anywhere. No, I want to go to Raleigh. So that flight already booked. So I went into that flight. It is because it is a journey. It is not just roaming about. So human life is like that. There is the destination. We want to reach some place. So therefore it is called prasthana. And on the way there are things that you need on this journey. So these three things are told. Upanishads. It is called Shruti Prasthana. This is Sanskrit word which means that the sages have spontaneously given the teachings to the eligible disciples. So they are collected, that is the Upanishads. They are spontaneous. But these spontaneous teachings given to those disciples, we find it very difficult to connect ourselves to that level, to that context, and therefore they are not easily accessible. Moreover, especially those disciples were of a very high level of spiritual awareness. So therefore those teachings don't make much sense to us. They have to be brought to our level. So that is called then Smriti Prasthana, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is called Smriti Prasthana. So there the advice is given to some person who is struggling like us. These Upanishadic disciples, they were very clear in what they want. Not Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. He was confused. He admits that my confusion, like all of us, that is why Bhagavad Gita is felt to be very close to us rather than Upanishads. Because it is addressed to a fellow like us, not a very highly elevated soul. And Arjuna's question had nothing to do. The first question that Arjuna asked has nothing to do about spiritual quest. Those questions came later. The first question that Arjuna asked there is this, that, oh, I am suffering, take me out of this suffering. That is the first thing. And the second chapter, as you read, some 5th or 6th verse, hey, Lord Krishna, it is till then he was not even thinking of Krishna as a teacher, just a friend, and in fact he was giving lecture to Krishna that what is right, what is not right, and so forth. But now he understands at least that much, that he is totally confused, incapable of deciding anything, and is drowning in this terrible mire of sufferings, confusion and all that. Yat shoka mutshoshanamindriyanam. See, those words are showing the agony in which Arjuna is talking, that this suffering, this misery is sucking all the life from me, from my all sense organs and so forth. It is, and therefore I don't see any other way. So you please take me out of this. So we get into that kind of situation very often. God and all, forget it. I am suffering, take me out of this. What can I do? This world is full of suffering. Even for minor things we make big deal out of it, Even if we have headache, we feel the life is all of no use. It is, see, the headache is there, not going. So it is, we pray to God for that also. God, please take my headache out. So it is like that, the headache also can be that reason for suffering. So okay, I was telling somebody that complaining, oh Swami, lot of headache. Good, you have headache, that at least proves that you have a head. It is. Otherwise, you don't furnish too many proofs, that you have one. So at least now, if somebody says that, well, you don't have head, you can show that, tell that I had headache, so that shows that I have head. So it is the suffering that we are afflicted with, these afflictions that we want to get rid of, and that is why we take refuge in God, refuge in teacher. That is how Bhagavad Gita begins, and so we get connected to that. And then there is the Nyaya Prasthana Brahma Sutra, which is a proper arrangement of the teachings of Upanishads. So on all these three, Shankaracharya has written great elucidating commentaries, and he has brought out the hidden spiritual wisdom in each of them in such a brilliant way. And Swami Prabhavananda, therefore, after studying, he says that it is just Shankaracharya's modesty that he calls them as commentaries rather than original books. They are like original treatises, but out of modesty he calls them as commentaries. But these commentaries require some more learning. We have to know the original text, we have to have read all that, then we can get into it. Shankaracharya has written therefore many other books. They are called Prakarana Granthas, means the smaller treatises, smaller books elucidating the principles of Vedanta, and this is one of them. And this is the most popular amongst them, Vivekachudamani. Vivekachudamani is what it means is the crest jewel of discrimination. These days the word discrimination has a bit different connotation, and therefore I prefer to call it the crest jewel of discernment. It is actually means the same thing, but then the words they acquire different spins, different connotations. So it is crest jewel of discernment. And this is a very practical, very simple book to study. The language, Sanskrit language used here is pretty simple language. Also, it has not just guidance, but it has a big inspirational element associated with it. It is very inspiring. We need inspiration. Yes, I must do it. It is not just guidance. Okay, I will see later on. Guidance is there, okay. Keep it, when I get time I will look into those. That time never comes like that. It is, but inspiration, that oh no, you have to do it right away. This is the great thing. You must take it up now. So that is the inspirational part. This book has both the guidance, but also a major part of this book is inspirational. And the language of Shankaracharya, while simple, it is so powerful. Just like Swami Vivekananda's words, that like a thunderbolt they strike you. Shankaracharya's language is also like that. In fact, in everything he wrote, the language is something that the scholars wonder at. It is, his language is so unique that by that language, it is people see that if this book is written by the Adi Shankaracharya, the first Shankaracharya, or the other who follows or the following other Shankaracharyas who wrote with the same name. Because nobody has been able to imitate the great language that Shankaracharya has, and that is on evidence in this wonderful book. There are some other books of similar type called Prakaran Granthas, and they also go by the name Shankaracharya. But if you read them, you immediately know that it is not the same Shankaracharya. But Vivekachudamani, it is a treatise of immense importance. And Viveka is the most essential thing that is that identifies a human being. Viveka. Viveka, the power to select out of the two similarly appearing things. So one has to make a choice. And human beings can choose. And choose here, that is what is called Viveka, to choose. But choosing not on the basis of liking. Choosing on the basis of liking, the animals also do. Instinctively you choose because of your likes and dislikes. But this is something that is chosen not on the basis of likes and dislikes. That is where the human speciality comes in. That you choose on the basis of what is right, what is beneficial. Whether I like it or I don't like it matters not. Well, for example, I like to eat lot of sweet things. But when I see whether is it right for me, what Rina, is it right for me? No. So therefore, even though I like it, I say no, I should not eat it, you see. So it is, that is called making a choice on the basis of right and not right. Otherwise, on the basis of like and dislike, anybody makes choice. That is not what is called Viveka. It is on the basis of what is right and what is not right. You make a choice. And that is the Viveka. The Sanskrit root of this word Viveka is which, means to choose. It is, thus you choose in this life, what should I do? And Sri Ramakrishna, we are all here followers of Sri Ramakrishna, that is the ideal. Sri Ramakrishna, in Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna you read that this question gets asked very often there, that can one realize God in householder's life? Can one realize God in householder's life? And Sri Ramakrishna has always replied in affirmative, in a forceful affirmative. Yes, in householder's life one can realize God. Why it is, I sometimes wonder why this question has not been asked, that can one realize God in a monastic life? That also should be a legitimate question, isn't it? That can one, but that question is never asked. Many of you, almost all of you must have gone through the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. You don't find a question, can somebody realize God in monastic life? Because it is more or less taken for granted. Okay, it is like they are on the train, so they will reach the destination. It is about the householders. Actually, there isn't much difference, let me tell you. Whether somebody is a monastic or householder, it is only the way one leads the life that matters. These things are important whether you are a householder or a monastic. But that is a different topic. When Sri Ramakrishna said, yes, one can realize God even in householder's life, but one has to take some measures for that. And one has to do something special for that, which can be easily done even while following a householder's life. What is it? The first thing he says that Viveka, you have to now discriminate or discern what is, he says, what is nitya and what is anitya, what is permanent and what is not permanent, what comes and goes. What is permanent, that really solves the problem, that is the main simple thing. What, Anu, can you decide what is permanent and what is not permanent? Simple, isn't it? What is permanent, what is not permanent. And once you decide it, once you know it, the problem is solved. It's very simple. Because our main problem is that we confuse between them. That what is permanent appears to be impermanent. Or even we doubt whether it exists or not. What is impermanent, we think that to be permanent. And that is why we get attached to it. Once you know something to be impermanent, you will never get attached to it. Once you know impermanent, we get attached to impermanent things only because we do not know that they are impermanent. Maybe intellectually we may be knowing, but actually we do not think that they are impermanent. When you really know, you never get attached. Like I sat in the aeroplane, I was allocated a seat. I still remember 19A. So I sat on that. I told, well, that's my seat. But I knew it is my seat only for 50 minutes. That's it. And so I knew that it was impermanent. And so did I shed a tear when I had to leave it? Did I get attached to it? Do you ever get attached to your seat in the plane?
No.
No, never, because you actually know that it is impermanent. But our, relation to body, and through body we form other relationships. Now everybody actually intellectually knows that this body is impermanent, comes and goes. The life is just here today, gone tomorrow. But we actually do not know. So we get attached to body. Not just attached, it is with body, the relation is at a still higher level. I mean, it is identification, not just attachment. And not that it is my body, I am getting attached to it. I body, I and body, difficult to separate. That kind of attachment. My attachment to, say, my car, you can call it attachment. Hardly anybody identifies car and oneself. My car, okay, I have to sell it. I'm kind of attached to it, but now it is not working great, so I have to get a new one. So you sell your car. But with body, it is, we don't think like that. It is, we are identified with it. Once you see what is permanent and what is impermanent, and is it so difficult to see what is permanent and what is impermanent? That which changes is impermanent, that which does not change is permanent. So it is so simple that this is that which does not change is permanent, and so know that all other things are what, Devi? They are impermanent. Everything else is impermanent, and therefore it is not real. You will not get attached to it, and thus you will become free. So, getting realization of God is actually so easy that it is to see why you don't believe. Isn't it very easy? What do you think? What, Prabhakar? Isn't it so simple to realize God?
Logically, yes.
Yeah, so why should we be illogical?
We reason too much. We start reasoning.
But irrational, we do not reason and call it reasoning, That is the problem with the work that our brain does and our mind does. It is, many psychologists have pointed out this folly of human life. We think rationally, act irrationally. That is how our mind is, that it doesn't go on a rational track. Brain goes on the rational track. The mind goes very irrationally. So this book really is telling us to be rational not only in your thinking but in your actions too. Otherwise, what is the use of having this rational faculty? It is in the rational faculty that we are different from animals. We are human beings, so be like human beings, be rational, and thus then we will realize God for sure. There is no doubt. This is the book that Shankaracharya therefore has written to show this great faculty of discernment in our, and the use of that. So this begins with, of course, in these 2-3 classes we will not be able to study the whole book, but we will see a few verses and then that will provide at least some kind of a guideline for us to study deeper. You are all Vedantists here, and you have heard these things from many great teachers, many wonderful Swamis before this. You read and study a lot. So of course I am not going to tell you anything new that you do not already know. But it helps to reinforce it. It helps to get a deeper view of it. So that is why reinforcement is necessary. It is, otherwise it doesn't stay with us. So it is, Shankaracharya begins this by saluting his teacher. Shankaracharya's teacher's name was Govindapad, Yati Govindapad. And the story of his life is just so fascinating. People, many think that it is impossible. This is not possible at all. It is all myth. It really never happened. But even his philosophical works will be seen like that. It is impossible. How can it be? Just because I cannot do something, I think that others also cannot do. It is. I also raised this kind of question to somebody that, well, this probably, you don't see people doing like that. And that Swami replied, and I still remember, that is why we don't worship all of those. Well, that is, they are the great people, it is. When you see that feat, somebody doing, there is a video, somebody told me, at the age of 99, one lady is doing all those yoga postures and that sun salutations and all. So at 99, if at all somebody gets up to that, normally we'll say no, at 99 nobody can do such thing. But well, it is done. That is why it is like that. So therefore, these great people have accomplished these things. This little child came, at the age of 5. He was so illumined, and then he started walking to the banks of Narmada from his village in Kerala, that Kaladi, about 1,000 miles or so distance, you see. He went on foot to through all those forests and all. He reached there and goes there. This teacher was in great state of samadhi, waiting for this disciple. So as soon as this little Shankara reaches there, he opens his eyes and asks, just as a matter of introduction, who are you? If that person had been like us, would have told that, my name is Shankara, my father's name is this, my mother's name is this, I am from this village, Kaladi in Kerala. But that boy didn't have this kind of identification with body. So he replied, some say that is what we chant commonly, that I am not the mind, I am not the body, I am the Brahman, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, that is what I am. So that was this boy. So then Govindapad, the teacher, taught him the secrets of the Vedantic wisdom and told that, yes, now my job is done. I have passed this wisdom to you. Now you will get further guidelines as to what you should be doing. My job is done, so he passed away. So this Shankaracharya therefore sees that all the knowledge is coming from the Guru. So he says, Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagat Gocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Again, the great language of Shankara, right in the first verse you see, and the deep devotion to Guru.
What does it mean?
It means, I just am reading the translation, I prostrate myself before Govinda, the perfect teacher who is absorbed always in the highest state of bliss. And the Govinda, it is double here, I am saluting to Lord Govinda and also his teacher's name, Govinda. So it is so. It continues. His true nature cannot be known by the senses or the mind. It is revealed only through knowledge of the scriptures. So that is how his understanding of the Guru is. Sri Ramakrishna says many times that one should not harbor the idea about Guru that he is just a mere human being. No, that is really the divine. Divine that has taken the form of teacher for you. So approach it in that manner. So Shankaracharya is approaching that teacher, speaking of that teacher in this manner. All great teachers of mankind always have shown that tremendous reverence for the Guru. It is that through the Guru the whole world reveals, like that Jnaneshwar. Jnaneshwar, Saint Jnaneshwar says, and that he salutes the Guru. Many places in that celebrated book, that is commentary on Bhagavad Gita, Jnaneshwari. So he salutes the teacher at many places in that book. One is so beautiful that he says that this Guru is like the sun, but it is a different type of sun. This sun is when the normal sun rises up, then you see the world, you see all the names and forms. But this sun is such that what happened?
I think that something happened with the speaker. We'll fix it later.
Okay. Are you able to hear? Okay, very good. So it is
this sun, special sun.
this special sun, the Guru. When that rises, all this variety, all these names and forms, this appearance of the universe is all gone. It sets, as it were. When this our common sun rises, the appearances we feel them to be real. But when the sun of Guru rises, all these appearances they set, and the non-dual reality then shines forth. It is a different Navala Udela Chandanshu. It is a different type of sun, that very wonderful. When this sun rises, this world and all the variety, it all is set, and the non-dual reality that shines forth. So this is the Guru. So after saluting the Guru, now this great inspirational part is telling that look, we are human beings, and as human beings we have been very, very fortunate, tremendously fortunate. Amongst so many different species, only human beings have this privilege to discern, to see what is right and what is not right. All other creatures, they go by likes and dislikes. Only human beings, they think of making use of life. With other creatures, it is just living, and not the idea of making use of life. Do you see this difference? And therefore with other creatures, you give them that subsistence of living. Give them food, give them shelter, give them the similar such things necessary for the body, and then they are okay, they are fine, they do not strive for anything higher. But human beings, even with all that, they feel, no, I am not satisfied. You can have a human being with lot of wealth, all physical needs are well taken care of, still they are not happy. One can be very rich, but is still frustrated, goes and commits suicide. It is because we do not think that it is enough just to get subsistence of life, continuation of this physical existence. We want to make use for it. Why am I living? What is the purpose of life? These questions can bother only human beings. That is why Jesus says, man does not live by bread alone. A great statement, friends. A human being does not live by bread alone. Bread signifies all the physical necessities. They are there, that is not enough for human beings. They need something more. And this is a very special thing. We are very fortunate. Let us realize, let us know how fortunate we are. And so, let us make best use of this fortune, this great possibility that has opened before us by just being a human. Jantunam narajanma durlabhamatah. That yes, as a human being, you already, of these millions of species, you are unique. Now you are so lucky, so fortunate. Now do not waste this life. Moreover, amongst human beings again, you have the viprata, pustvam and viprata. These two words are misinterpreted because of the modern connotations that these words have acquired. Pustvam, it is not a male body. Punstvam, because that is how the translations also, many translations say like that, and then obviously that is not correct, because we have so many examples of great women saints who have realized the truth, who have been so eager to do spiritual practice. What Punstvam means actually is those who have that tremendous desire to make use of this life, what is called Purushakara. That word in Sanskrit means that there is this, that initiative is there, that I want to make some good use of this life, this initiative, that is called Punstvam, not a male body. That is, whether you have a male body or female body, that is not the matter of concern here. It is, and then Viprata. Again, this gets translated as being a Brahmin, and which again is not the connotation, that not the intended meaning here. Viprata, no, if you see how these words come, you will know what is Viprata. Viprata does not mean at all being born in a clan of Brahmins. No, that has nothing to do with Viprata. Viprata, see, there is a very beautiful verse describing how human beings, evolve as from one stage to another. There are these 4 varnas. Again in English the problem is that in Sanskrit these 2 words are there, varna and jati. Varna and jati. In English for both the same translation goes, caste, and therefore it creates lot of confusion. The word varna is not same as jati, in fact very different.
What it is?
Huh?
What is Varana?
Varna means that your physical, mental tendencies, your constitution, your aptitudes, that is what is called varna. All people do not have the same aptitude, all do not become artists, all do not become Kalidasa like poets, all do not become Einsteins. We all have a particular mental get-up, particular constitution. That has been divided into 4 categories very scientifically, very beautifully. That would be a topic for another lecture. I am not therefore going deep into it. But that is varna. And jati, what it means is your birth, your lineage. You tell, well, I am so and so, my dad's name is so and so. It is kind of your family identification, that is called jati. That I have been born in this clan. That has nothing to do with varna. The 2 things are different. So that beautiful verse says, Janmana jayate shudraha. By your birth, everybody is Shudra. The lowest amongst the varnas. Lowest means there is no initiative there. It needs to be cultivated, it needs to be pushed. So it is as the birth goes, Janmana jayate Shudraha Samskara Dvija Uchyate. By putting in some these purification, giving some culture, and then it is called Dvija, that is twice born. The meaning of this word is twice born. So there is, it is called then becoming a Brahmin. But that is not the correct interpretation as such. That it is, well, you have been given now some this initiation into learning. Okay, now you should learn. Human birth is for learning, Schools are for human beings. And do you see any training school for cats, run by cats, I mean. They run schools for dogs and cats. And do you see any school being run by a dog as principal and for all other dogs are being admitted there? No, it is you can't even think of that. Education is a human speciality. So as a little baby, you just spend time in natural learning, but not going to school. Now you have to go to school. So go to school from tomorrow. Okay, you are now 4-year-old, 3-year-old, whatever. So now enough of just playing and all that. You have to go to school. So that is called becoming a Dvija. That you are now, it is your second birth. First birth was just like an animal, coming out of mother's womb, that's it, It is just like any animal is born, well, you are born. But now, make use of your human characteristic, that now I have to learn, I have to develop myself, I have to go to school. And so a ceremony is performed for that, because going to school means discipline. That is, therefore, a thread ceremony is performed. That that thread is to remind you that you have to be now henceforth very disciplined. And now you have to study. You cannot just behave as your whims. No, it is so. You have the fellow is put into a discipline, and not they are not therefore to live with their parents also. In the olden times, the 5-year-old then taken to dorm, the teacher, because the parents did have their attachments, my special child and all that, so naturally, so it is, so the child is to be sent to the teacher's place. So there, now that child studies, gets the knowledge, and then that gets the name Vipra. Samskara dvija uchyate Veda pathi bhavet Vipraha. That if now this person studies all these scriptures and all, gets knowledge from that, then that person is called a Vipra. And then as a result of that knowledge, this person becomes now identical or identified not with body but with Brahman. Then Brahma janati Brahmanaha. Not just because you are born with something and has some Brahmin kind of identifying last name, that doesn't make you a Brahmin according to the scriptures. Brahma janati iti, that if you realize Brahman, then only you should be called a Brahmin. But the stage prior to that Veda pathi bhavet Vipra, the one who therefore takes up the study of scriptures to realize that truth, to get to that point, that person is called Vipra. So now you all here, you are Vipras. For at least minimum, you are Vipras because you are studying these Vedanta books, you are studying this Sri Ramakrishna, Vivekananda literature, you do your spiritual practices and all that. So that addresses you, this word addresses. Do you see it, Peter? This Viprata, it is addressed to we all, that it is Viprata, we are Vipras. Okay, Prasanna? You are? Vipra, correct. So, Pustvam tato Viprata. It is not see again Shankaracharya tells only for Brahmins. No, it is for everybody, every human being who wants it. So that is it. So, and then Tasmad Vaidik Dharma Marga Parata Vidvat Tuktam Asmat Param. That then there is the intense desire after as you study it, that yes, I read Swami Vivekananda's book, and it is, it is bringing me to the point that I must really follow. Some days back, I got an email from one student, one who is completing his PhD, and then said that, well, I have been studying Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna, and all these, and I am going to Vedanta societies, but now I feel therefore I should not be wasting my time in other things. I should just dedicate myself for realizing this truth. I must take to monastic life. It is, well, that inspiration comes. What I mean is that Tasmad Vaidika Dharma Marga Paraka, that not that everybody has to take to monastic life, but what it means is I must follow this path. This is the path that will take me to my ultimate goal, because that is what I want. And thus you start following that path. How fortunate we are, see. You are all so fortunate. We are human beings. We have been studying the spiritual books. We have been trying to follow that path. We are going on that with great enthusiasm. Vaidika Dharma Marga Parata Vidvatvam Asmat Param. And there is this Vidvatva also. This is all. That is, see, the great fortune that we have of all these blessed things. And so, it is, what should be done? This is what is the title of the book, Vivekachudamani, that is described here. Atmanatma vivechanam svanubhavo brahmatmana samsthiti muktirno shat janma kotis kritai punyairvina labhyate. That Atmanatma vivechanam, yes, you have to now have this discernment. What is I and what is not I. It is very confusing thing. This Shama may say, what is there? I know what is I, what is not I. I know this is I and this is Reena, my wife. Different. It is not I and not I. What is there? Why do we need Shankaracharya and others to tell us that? I know what is I, what is not I. No, we don't know what is I and what is not I. For example, the food you take, you say, is it I? No, it is not I. But that same food goes in and you call it I. So it is, we don't know what is I and what is not I. And you have to really have that discernment. What is I, what is not I. And this discernment will lead us to Atma Anatma Vivechanam. This is Atma and Anatma, that self and not self. That is, to be this discernment one has to do. And this discernment, with that discernment, what happens? Then you experience it, that what is self. Once you see what is self and what is not self, now your understanding of who am I, now you experience that. And thus it is, Brahmatmana samsthiti. You know that you are Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. Like that, our persona will say, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. Will you have any problem then about whether I am getting enough money or not? No. It is, it is, you will not have that problem at all. You will not have problem whether your family members, they are treating you well or not. No. Whether you are getting enough respect in society or not. All those considerations will drop because you are Brahman, Brahmatmana samsthiti. You realize that you are the existence, consciousness, absolute. You are absolute. And thus nothing to be earned. You are bliss itself. What can be added to you? Nothing. You are bliss itself. And nothing can be added to you, nothing can be subtracted from you. You are at that fulfillment. Just by properly looking at it, who am I and what am I not? Such a simple thing, that Brahmatmana Samsthiti. And otherwise, if you don't do it, then there is no freedom for you.
So what I am and what I am not.
Yeah, just see that, that's it. Then you are free because that is what you actually are. But because I think that I am this body, then I am not free. The body, it is matter, it is bound by the law of nature, it changes, it has no freedom at all. That is why Jesus says a great statement again that you say I can do this and I can do that. Can you make even one hair on your head black or white? Even that freedom you don't have, and you talk big things. As body you don't have any freedom. It is the nature bound by the laws of nature. What freedom you talk about? There is no freedom. But when you realize who you are, then there is nothing that can restrict your freedom. You are Brahman. You are all pervading. You do not have even the bondage of time and space. You are all that is. So it is thus you realize your true freedom, which otherwise it is impossible. Unless you know this, there is no liberation. You can do many other things. That let me perform this sacrifice and that puja and that, that may have some other results, but not this freedom. You will not realize the freedom except by this knowledge. So this is the very important thing. Do you have any questions about it? Anybody has
Freedom
any
from
doubt?
what?
Huh?
You know you are, okay, you think you are logically your Brahman.
Yeah.
But body is also a part in this world. Body is very much part of it. You can be wise, but if you have to do anything in this world, you need your body, right?
Well, that doesn't mean anything.
I mean, as a
because you
spirit,
don't-
what will you do?
You don't do. This question you will not ask when you will see this. It is otherwise we will certainly have this question. Then what do you do?
But Swamiji, in this world, a few souls are enlightened. A majority of us are not so enlightened.
Well, when they realize this truth, they are enlightened. Not that there are some souls who are enlightened, they fall from the skies, and then we others, we are born in a normal way. No, once you do this practice, when you see this, and you see that you are Brahman, then that's it. Then you do not have to work in a restricted way through the body. You can if you want, but that will not restrict you at all.
But what are you trying to be free from?
You are trying to be free from? That's a very good question. A very tough question. What you are trying to be free from? There is, this question is asked in Shankaracharya's other beautiful book, it is the Bhagavad Gita commentary. And there is the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called, that it is Kshetra Kshetrajna Yoga, that it is the knower and the known. And then it is there, the opponent asked Shankaracharya that, okay, tell me who is bound? Tell me who is bound? Can you tell who is bound? Because bondage means there is somebody who is bound, isn't it? So who is bound?
Body desires.
Shankaracharya, instead of answering, puts another question. Well, what do you want to know about that? Who is bound? It is no, unless we know who is bound, how can we make effort to get freedom? And then Shankaracharya says, let that fellow who is bound worry about it. Why are you worried? Then the opponent says, no, I am bound. Then you already know who is bound. It is, you already know who is bound. The one who is asking this question is bound. That littleness of I am so and so, that is the bondage. Actually, I am all that is.
But it is difficult to remember that all the time. When you are nice, you think I am that. But when something happens, oh my God.
Suddenly differentiate.
That
The smallness.
That is true. That is why it is to be practiced.
Swamiji, what?
By practice you get the conviction. It is to be practiced again and again till that conviction comes. See, there are the steps through which it goes. First is that understanding it intellectually, and understanding that this is the truth in spite of all the doubts that are coming up. This is the truth. The doubts are only because I do not know it. The doubts have really, all these doubts have intellectually no locus standing. It is, we are Brahman. There is, you cannot shy away from this truth so far as intellectual understanding goes. Now, the next thing, let me keep on repeating this truth, and then there are the ways of repeating it. Psychologically conducive. As you see the obstacles of different type, you take the measures suitable in that respect, suitable for that. That is why then you go to the Guru. Then the Guru tells that this is the path that you have to follow. Now, the path is something that one has to follow. It takes time, it is a process. So, one has to go through that process, and thus you see the truth. And then there is no bondage. Then all these questions that appear only in bondage, they will not be there. So, it is, your question is very good, and that is the only answer for that yes, try to get this wisdom deep into your being. Then this will not happen. It is, you know who is bound. It is this littleness that we cling on to, that is our bondage. And this I that I call, that is my bondage. Therefore, never think that this Yogatmananda bound will later on become Yogatmananda free. No. It is, we immediately have this idea, that okay, I am in a jail. I am in a jail, and then this jail is my bondage. I am in this walls, in this jail cell. Now, after completing my jail term, I will become free. So we think here also like that I am now bound. And then after some years or so, then I will become free. That is not freedom. It is this I will vanish. That is the bondage, this limitedness of I. I am so and so. Then this misunderstanding goes away. then you are free. Otherwise, that is what is binding us, Nothing else needs to bind you. That is the rope that is binding me. That's this little ego. I am so and so. This goes away. And then see the life of Sri Ramakrishna. That this I is not there. The great thing that you notice about Sri Ramakrishna's life, he is living like us. He is eating, he is walking, he is talking, all these actions he is doing. He is falling sick, he is going to number one, number two, all that, like human beings, everything. And yet no trace of ego. That is the beauty of it. There is a very nice passage that one reads in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. That Sri Ramakrishna himself is asking M. And the discussion was going on about ego. And Sri Ramakrishna asks M, tell, do I have ego? And M thinks about it and answers that, well, for the work of Divine Mother you have kept a little bit of it. And Sri Ramakrishna corrects him. No, for Divine Mother's work she has kept a little bit of it. That is, there is no I who is keeping it, you see. It is the complete that egolessness. That is why when he is suffering from that terrible throat cancer, imagine the pain, And there was no morphine pump and any such thing those days. And that Pandit, that scholar Shashadhar Tarkachudamani comes and tells, well, the yogis like you, they just need to concentrate on this and then the disease would go away. Sri Ramakrishna laughs at him, says, you are a scholar and talk such things. Can that mind which is given to Lord, can it ever be brought on this such a silly thing? But that then Narendranath, that Swami Vivekananda hears this, says, no, come on, you have to do it for us.
That is
please.
Also true.
That is also true, but look at Sri Ramakrishna. He says, no, what is there? You don't, it is Sri Ramakrishna. But when Narendranath was not going to let it fall like that, let it pass like that, he says, Sri Ramakrishna then somehow said, just to get rid of this Narendranath pestering. So, I don't know anything. It is the only Divine Mother knows everything. Whatever she wishes, it will happen. Then, why don't you go and tell her? She listens to you. You tell, for us you have to tell her. And now Sri Ramakrishna had to go. And then Narendranath was not going to let it sit like that. Did you go to Divine Mother? He sees Sri Ramakrishna very pale-faced, crestfallen, very sad. Hardly ever Sri Ramakrishna is sad. Did you go to Divine Mother? Yes. What did you ask? I showed to Divine Mother. See, he is in constant communion with Divine. No consciousness of I being body. That I showed the mother that look at this, because of this I cannot eat anything. If you see the photograph of Sri Ramakrishna, Just when he passed away, you will see just skeleton. Just skin and bone, that's it. Cannot eat anything. So can you do something by which I can eat something? And Narendranath felt happy. So now he has asked something, right? And what did Divine Mother say? She scolded me. Scolded? She said, who is eating by all these mouths? See that awareness, I am not this body. From all these mouths, the same being is eating. And we have this terrible ignorance that somebody is in this body, somebody else is in that body, somebody else is in that body. No, that ignorance has to go. This ignorance that this is a separate I, that is a separate I, that has to go. What is the bondage of a drop in ocean? Only this, that I am a drop. That fictitious identification with the so-called boundary of the drop. That is the limitation. Don't get limited by that, and then you are ocean. What prevents you from being ocean? Nothing but this imbecile, terrible clinging to this littleness. And that is our bondage, my dear. This is to be given up. So this is, thus we become Brahmatmana, that verse says, Brahmatmana samsthiti. By the word I, now you won't think of a particular body, you will think of Brahman. That is in Shvetashvatar Upanishad. This line is their great line, that Yadatma Tattvena tu Brahma Tattvam. When somebody, such a person says I, doesn't refer to a particular piece of flesh and blood. It refers to the all-pervading truth, all-pervading reality. That is this Brahman. So that is when that awareness is there, this little I is gone. It is like in dream. It is gone. When you wake up, that is that little I that you were seeing in the dream, that is gone. So similarly, this little I gone, and that little I means bondage, and going away of that is freedom. If I mean, it cannot be really told in words, but that is how at most something can be told about it. Any other question?
I have a question.
Yes,
It's
please.
so difficult because, this is another Swamiji, Swami Vedananda. He came here and he said, which I could relate. He said, there are three planes. One is physical plane. Of course, in the physical plane we are different. Then there is the intellectual and the spiritual. In the spiritual plane we are all same. But then, in this world, we have good people and we have not so good people. How do we relate that not so good people are also part of something?
Well, yes, there is. Are we really good? Think about it. That will answer
Looks
the question.
apparently, some people behave nicely to other people, do a lot of good things for other people.
Do we do like that all the time?
No, we don't. But there are people who are robbing, stealing, things like that.
Well, we
So-
are also part of that,
Different kind of skill.
Yeah, different kind of stealing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, that is how, everybody, even a thief would say, well, I am good, those other people, It is.
But it's very difficult.
It
That's all I
is.
know.
It is. See this is difficult. This is the life in this world is difficult.
Yes.
Whether you are spiritual or not spiritual.
Yeah.
Somebody
Dukkha.
was asking me, that one lady said, but Swamiji, that spiritual life is so difficult. I said, okay, is the life otherwise easy? Is the life easy? Otherwise, had life been easy, otherwise mostly people wouldn't have turned to spiritual wisdom also. It is only because of dissatisfied here, not feeling happy, not feeling in control of things, so many desires just bubbling and making a mess of life. So life otherwise also is not easy. One nice example I like to give is, you may say that driving in the right direction is difficult, it is, you have to spend gas. If you are driving in the wrong direction, does the car runs on water? That also you have to spend gas even if you drive in the wrong direction. The suffering, difficulties is part of our life. If you go in the right direction, at least there is emancipation from this. Otherwise, again and again, same like Shankaracharya says in that Bhaja Govindam, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jathare Shayanam. Iha samsare khulu dustare kripaya pare pahi murare. Otherwise, that is the life. If you go in the right direction, your journey at least will come to an end. And that then you will get out of the car. Your GPS will tell you, you have arrived. That's it. If you are going in the wrong direction, journey will not end. Again and again you will be born because journey is not complete. This vehicle broke, but the journey didn't complete. So you buy another vehicle, another body. Again continue. Again and again. And very difficult. So let us take up that difficulty which will take us out of the difficulty. That is what Sri Ramakrishna said, that Maya, but take up Vidya Maya instead of the Avidya Maya. That, come on, let me keep on thinking. Swami Vivekachudamani therefore says, you may fail, doesn't matter. Again and again tell yourself the truth. Just because you fail doesn't matter. You may fall 10,000 times. Still rise up and say, I am that. Keep on telling yourself the truth. Why keep on drinking the poison that I am this little being? Silly. Again and again jumping in the same mire and getting dirty. No need. Well, if you slip, okay, doesn't matter. Try the best to come out of it. That is where Punstvam, that manliness. It is not man as a body, manliness. That's the word I was thinking of. Now it came, that you have to have the manliness. That yes, I will strive to come out of it. Yes, I will spend all my energies in going in the right direction. And certainly, that is, you have to work hard against the gravity. Gravity is the pulse of the senses that we get because of our littleness. I am little, I have the awareness, I am little. Then I am being pulled by all different things. So we have to get over that. It is, and that is why it appears to be strenuous. But we have to do that. It is. There is no easy alternatives. We go for some easy alternatives. One special feature of Shankaracharya's teaching was, especially when you read the commentaries, that he is totally against compromise. Do not compromise. Do not tell yourself lies. You may be not able to do it right now, but therefore don't tell that, okay, this is all right. No, this is not all right. You have to do it right. Maybe it will take 1,000 years. Doesn't matter. It is, after all, what is time? That is an interesting question. I was having discussion while having my tea, and then it is that history, it turned to history. Well, unless you understand that what is this idea of time, and it is a measure of change. If there is nothing changes, there is no time. Time only measures the changes, what it was and what it is. So similarly, it is the change is measured in various ways. So, like you have the clock, it measures the change in a particular way. But when the concentration increases, you do not feel the passage of time. It is otherwise, listening to a boring lecture like this, then you always know what it is. See the people, children and even grown-ups, they are glued to TV watching a football game. 5-6 hours just pass like that. Never sense that, well, 5 hours have gone by. It is because of the concentration, the time is arrested. Nothing seems to happen. So, it is when the time stops, that is, you have attained liberation. That is actually what the Buddhist idea is, living in the moment. Living in the moment does not mean just this moment and this moment. No, it is going beyond this deception called time. So that is how we will realize the truth. Doesn't matter if we fail, let us go ahead. The mind will change. The time scale of the watch and the time scale of the change of mind is different. That's it. But it will change and we will start seeing things differently. And thus we will realize the truth. Any other question before we take a break?
Take a break now. Lunch.
Lunch.
No lunch, I'm hungry.
Yeah, that is the break. You may get lunch.
I thought maybe it's a 5-minute break.
She thought 5 minutes break.
Yeah.
That's why she was worried. But it will be 1 hour break. At least 45 minutes.
Yeah, depends on how quickly you can take lunch. Very good. So, Om Asatu Ma Sangamaya Vinsuma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tatsat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.